you, Honorable Loach, and get your thoughts on this whole process. Do you think it's a good idea? Does it make sense? Will it help the country?
Yes, thank you. I think it will. I think the president is striking all the good chords. Of course, the concern about whether these will pass the constitutional test becomes an important question. Under the Constitution, there is the right to fair administrative action. And I think if you look at the tail end of the president's letter, or the letter that was written on his behalf, it clearly states that even though this exercise will be casting its net wide, the president and the people who say they will carry out this exercise have given an assurance to these officers that they will follow due process. So I think so long as that due process is followed, I think it's important that this exercise be done. So that's one thing. I think the swipe strikes a little closer to where corruption begins to take off. At the procurement level, in most government agencies, this is where procurement actually is hatched. And you see, historically, this has been in state corporations and government agencies, and this is where the president and his team is striking at. So I think the balance that needs to be struck here is the private rights of the individual and the greater public good. I think somewhere in between there, we will find that so long as the fair administrative action issues are catered for, I think the overriding public good must take precedent.
Okay. Yeah. Senator Kamen.
One, I think, in my view, the president is doing his best at the moment and in the circumstances to address this issue of corruption. And for whatever word it is, I think it is important that he's doing it, regardless of the other hiccups or legal and constitutional problems that may arise at times out of these actions. At least I'm sure and I'm persuaded to believe that for a few number of days or months, there is enough fear caused within the systems, within the people, that probably wouldn't be the architects of these mega scams that involve procurement. But I think it's important also to ask ourselves how we end up in this kind of a situation. Number one, when this is happening, it's like we are trying to question the whole procurement act, because the process of a procurement is not an individual item or matter. It's an item provided for in the law and through an act of parliament. And unless there are lacunas, unless there are mischiefs that can be cured through legislation, then the act as is probably is the one couldn't be a problem, going by what probably the president is suggesting in this case. But I would say that procurement officers alone, will not be the cure of
because they don't give themselves instructions.
The president should have, in my view, and with your due respect, have cast the net even wider, because he would have really gotten the wheels, because these are just some menace in the whole thing. A procurement officer, for him to succeed, and if you look at the law itself, a procurement officer, after the process has taken place, gives an opinion to the accounting officer. The accounting officer, probably, if it's in a ministry, is the PS. The PS is not bound by the opinion of the procurement officer, but it's supposed to guide him. Where he disagrees with the opinion of the procurement officer, he may veto that opinion. And for that matter, if it's in the ministry, because he has started, we support the OCOS, it is good. But I am saying, in my view, probably now next step, he shouldn't be in a position now to also under the accounting officers, if it's, for example, the corporations, the MDs, the CEOs, because the CEOs gives instructions to the procurement
CEO of parastatals,
okay, or the agencies. If it's the ministry, the PSs, must follow suit.
Same process. Okay.
Same process, and you won't be surprised. I got very happy because he ran his statement when I was just behind him during the Mandaraka celebrations.
It was in your home county.
In my account, and I was just clapping that the president is doing a good job, and I was very happy.
Fair enough.
But what I can tell you,
yes,
what can easily shock the president if this aspect of using
graph tests.
Yes, a polygram test is if this was tested on his cabinet secretaries, on his PSs, the president would not have anybody to work with.
Fair enough.